I remember the day my life unraveled with one text message. I was busy arranging a new display of indigo-dyed scarves at Vert de Vogue, my little eco-boutique tucked away in Portland's Arts District, when my phone buzzed. The notification glowed like a venomous snake on my screen. Done playing house. Off to San Diego with Hannah. Emptied the account. Don't bother. I was busy arranging a new display of indigo-dyed scarves at Vert de Vogue, my little eco-boutique tucked away in Portland's Arts District, when my phone buzzed. The notification glowed like a venomous snake on my screen. My hand tightened around a bolt of organic linen as I forced myself to breathe slowly. Across the store, Mrs. Nguyen was admiring a kimono woven from recycled saris. "This one," she declared with a gentle smile, "is perfect. My granddaughter graduates next week. She'll love the story behind the fabric." I wrapped the kimono in seed-embedded paper and explained in a voice as smooth as silk. "It's made by women's collectives in Mumbai. Every piece helps fund literacy programs." Only after the bell jingled behind her did I let my mask slip. Later, the security camera would catch me, fingers tracing the cruel words Derek had sent, my reflection distorted in the vintage mirror behind the counter. I wasn't shaking. I wasn't crying. I was smiling, at least on the outside. My reply when I finally mustered the strength was a simple bon voyage. Watch for jellyfish. I'm Elise Marlow, 37 years old, owner of Portland's fastest-growing sustainable fashion hub, and, as of that fateful afternoon, the ex-wife of a man who thought a string of emojis could end an 11-year marriage. The unraveling. Derek's transformation had been almost laughable. The introverted data analyst who once detested sand between his toes had morphed into Dax, a beard oil enthusiast, an aspiring influencer, a sunrise paddleboarding devotee. I still remember him, just a month ago, insisting, "It's about growth, Elise. You're still wearing clothes from grad school," as he modeled a pair of $200 selvage jeans. Inside, I noted the irony, especially when I later discovered an $1,800 charge at a Venice Beach boutique. That same day, I silently upgraded our security system. The clues piled up like mismatched socks. On March 12th, I found a deleted Uber receipt to the Nautilus Hotel. By April 3rd, his Spotify playlist had morphed from Code Jams to SoCal vibes. And on May 18th, a text popped up from Hannah R. reading, "TAX4 The Crystals. Chakras lit." Hannah, the 22-year-old mindfulness coach from his office wellness program. I remembered meeting her at the company retreat, watching her barefoot twirl through the conference room with her ankle bells jingling, explaining that negative energy disrupts coding flow as she wafted sage over Derek's desk. That very night, between drafting a post-nuptial agreement and filing a license for a second Vert de Vogue location, I knew something had to change. It was Hannah. Gone were the playful anklets. Today she wore chipped nail polish and had puffy eyes that betrayed sleepless nights. Clutching a chai latte, she blurted, "He's broke. The account? It's just overdraft fees now. Our Airbnb's really just a converted garage. I kept counting the till, waiting, and..." She hesitated before admitting, He said you'd be cold. That you'd beg him back." Her laugh cracked into bitterness. "But you're not even curious." I handed her my lawyer's business card. "Tell her about his business trips to Vegas." Her eyes widened. "How did you?" I simply replied, "Security cam subscription. Derek even used our Netflix password for his burner email." Later, in my attic office redolent of lavender and vengeance, I met with Rachel, my relentless pit bull of an attorney. Surrounded by a vintage drafting table and a wall of pressed ferns, she laid out the files. "Hannah's been singing, Elise. It turns out Derek promised to fund her yoga studio, and he's been skimming client data from Technova." I froze. "Illegal? Extremely," Rachel confirmed with a grin. "His boss might pay a small fortune to keep it quiet." We stared at each other as the old grandfather clock ticked its somber tune. "Blackmail's beneath us," I said finally. "But a whistleblower reward." Rachel paused, pen hovering. You'd save his company just to burn him? I met her gaze firmly. I'd save Hannah. She's not the villain here. The reckoning. The day in San Diego Superior Court was drenched in the scent of salt and regret. Derek arrived, looking sunburned and diminished, his once carefully curated influencer beard now patchy. Hannah testified via Zoom from a Bali co-working space, and soon, Technova's settlement was funding her real wellness startup. Mr. Ellis, the judge intoned, explain the $18,000 you transferred to a crypto wallet labeled Dax Labs. He mumbled, "It's a passion project." Rachel countered by brandishing bank records. "Passion for Dogecoin and OnlyFans subscriptions," she said. When the gavel finally fell, I kept the house, the boutique, and even Derek's vintage vinyl collection, which he had pawned to fund a rainwater harvesting system. All he walked away with was his gaming PC and a restraining order from Technova. The Bloom. Now, Verdi Vogue occupies a converted warehouse by the river, and our Ellis v. Ellis case study funds a legal clinic for women entrepreneurs. Hannah sends me postcards from her travels, and Derek? He's off selling paddleboards on Craigslist. Just last Tuesday, Mrs. Nguyen returned with her college-aged granddaughter. Mrs. Nguyen beamed. "My granddaughter Lila starts law school next fall," while holding a dress made from upcycled fishing nets. The girl's eyes sparkled as she asked, "How'd you survive the divorce?" I adjusted the framed text beside our Green Business of the Year award and replied, "By remembering that the best revenge grows in the dark." The new twist. As Lila left that day, my phone buzzed again. An unknown number. Saw the news. Proud of you. D. I blocked it immediately and unlocked the storeroom, where racks of bioluminescent gowns glowed softly. They were my secret project, engineered from algae and reclaimed wedding dresses. Sustainability, I'm used, is just destruction delayed. Tomorrow, I'd file patents. Tonight, I danced alone in the emerald light, my shadow tall against the walls that Derek once called home. In that moment, under the emerald light, a realization washed over me like a gentle wave. This wasn't just about reclaiming a life or a passion. It was about rediscovering myself. My dreams, my strength, my joy. The shadows on the wall weren't just remnants of Derek's past. They were symbols of my own resilience. As the music played and my feet moved to the rhythm, I knew I had found my own dance, my own path, and my own light. This is my story, divorced by text, yet reborn in the quiet triumph of reclaiming my life and my passion.
Ever had your world just totally rocked by a single text message?
Oh, yeah. I think we've all been there.
Well, get ready, because today we're diving into a story all about how one woman turned a brutal divorce into a story of triumph, sustainability, and maybe even a little bit of revenge.
Ooh, revenge.
We're going deep on Elise's story.
Okay.
She's the owner of a sustainable fashion boutique.
Right.
And she's got quite a tale to tell.
Yeah, it's a fascinating story. It really highlights how personal trauma can sometimes ignite like an entrepreneurial spirit. You know, it's about finding strength in these unexpected places.
Yeah.
And channeling that into something truly meaningful.
I love that.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's start from the beginning.
Okay.
Elise is deeply invested in her business, Verdi Vogue. It's a sustainable fashion boutique in Portland.
Nice.
Things seem to be going well.
Yeah.
But then she receives a text from her husband, Derek, that just changes everything.
That text message is like a turning point in the story.
Yeah.
It's shockingly callous.
Oh, yeah.
Not just in its content,
right,
but in the way it was delivered.
The method.
Yeah. Choosing a text message to end a marriage speaks volumes about Derek's disregard for their relationship, for Elise's feelings.
Totally.
It almost feels deliberate, like a power move.
It's brutal.
Yeah.
The text was, "I'm done. I'm leaving with Hannah. I emptied our bank account. Don't bother."
Wow.
What's remarkable is that Elise doesn't crumble.
Really?
She's in the middle of helping a customer.
Oh my gosh.
When she gets this bombshell and doesn't miss a beat.
Wow, that's Maintaining composure in the face of chaos is a powerful trait.
Isn't it?
Elise's reaction speaks to her inner strength,
Totally.
her ability to compartmentalize. She's not letting her emotions derail her.
Nope.
It's like she instinctively knows that falling apart won't solve anything.
Exactly.
Right.
And that's what's so captivating about Elise throughout this whole experience.
Yeah.
She's methodical, observant, and always thinking a few steps ahead.
Wow.
Even before the text, she'd started noticing subtle changes in Derek.
Like what?
Little things like an Uber receipt to an upscale hotel that wasn't for a work trip.
Interesting.
Or his Spotify playlist suddenly shifting from coding jams to SoCal vibes.
Yeah.
They were all breadcrumbs.
Those digital breadcrumbs, as you call them.
Yeah.
They paint a fascinating picture of Derek's transformation.
Huh?
We see him shifting from this introverted data analyst to Dax, the aspiring influencer.
Dax.
This persona, Dax, is obsessed with appearances, spending lavishly on clothes, chasing validation online.
It's an interesting point, this reinvention of Derek into Dax. Is it a midlife crisis?
Ooh.
The pull of a curated online persona, it makes you wonder what drives someone to make such a drastic shift.
I know.
Particularly in the age of social media. What are your thoughts on that?
I think there are layers to unpack here.
Yeah.
We see the allure of a manufactured online identity, this promise of external validation that social media offers. It raises the question, is Dax a reflection of who Derek truly wants to be? Or is it a carefully constructed facade? What do you think?
It's almost as if he's trying to become someone else entirely, leaving behind his old life.
Yeah.
And even his old name. But there's another key player in this story.
Yeah.
Hannah, the young mindfulness coach.
Oh, yeah.
What role does she play in all of this?
Hannah is an intriguing character.
Yeah.
We first meet her through Elise's eyes at a company retreat.
Okay.
Elise describes her as this free spirit barefoot with ankle bells jingling.
Oh, my God.
Leading mindfulness sessions.
Okay.
And get this cleansing Derek's desk with sage.
No way.
There's almost a sense of detachment, a hint of amusement in Elise's initial perception of Hannah.
Yeah.
Little does she know that Hannah will become a pivotal figure in her life.
Right.
For better or for worse.
And that encounter comes much sooner than Elise expects.
Oh, really?
Just 3 days after that infamous text message. Hannah shows up at Elise's boutique looking completely different from her usual bohemian self.
Oh, wow.
No more anklets.
Interesting.
Just chipped nail polish and tired eyes.
Huh.
It seems the honeymoon phase is already wearing thin.
This visit to the boutique is a crucial turning point in the story.
Okay.
It's a confrontation, but not the explosive kind you might anticipate.
Right.
It's more of a subtle power play.
Yeah.
Where both women reveal more than they intend.
I see what you mean.
What do you think?
Hannah is clearly distraught. It turns out Derek is broke.
Oh, no.
The San Diego dream he sold her was a lie.
Oh, my gosh.
And he'd convinced her that Elise would come crawling back.
Oh, wow.
But Elise, she remains remarkably calm and collected. She listens to Hannah's story, observes her, and then makes a strategic move that completely flips the dynamic.
Ooh, I like it.
Rather than reacting emotionally, she hands Hannah her lawyer's business card and drops a bombshell. She reveals that she knows all about Derek's supposed business trips to Las Vegas, implying that she's already aware of his infidelity and is prepared to take action.
Elise is definitely playing chess.
Oh, yeah.
Not checkers.
Instead of lashing out, she's gathering evidence, planning her next move, and she does it all with such composure. And the way she reveals her knowledge to Hannah. It's a power move that shifts the entire dynamic of their encounter.
Absolutely.
Right.
But it's also a moment of empathy.
Yeah.
Elise could have easily dismissed Hannah as just another naive girl caught in Derek's web.
Totally.
Instead, she recognizes her vulnerability and offers her a lifeline.
Interesting.
This sets the stage for an unexpected alliance between these two women who, under normal circumstances, might have seen each other as rivals.
This is where the story takes an unexpected turn. Elise's lawyer, Rachel, uncovers something even more scandalous.
What?
Derek hasn't just been lying to Elise. Okay. He's been skimming client data from his tech company, Technova, with the promises to use it to fund Hannah's dream yoga studio.
Oh, my goodness.
This revelation significantly raises the stakes. Now, it's not just a messy divorce.
Right.
It's potential corporate espionage.
Wow.
Elise is faced with a moral dilemma. Does she expose Derek, potentially ruining his career and harming Hannah in the process?
That's tough.
This is where Elise's character truly shines.
Okay.
She could have easily used this information for revenge,
Yeah.
but instead she chooses a different path.
Okay.
A path that highlights her integrity and her unexpected compassion.
That's an interesting point. But wasn't there a risk in Elise helping Hannah?
Yeah.
Could that have backfired legally?
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on that?
That's a great question. It was definitely a risk, but Elise and her lawyer, Rachel, are incredibly strategic.
Okay.
Instead of using the information for blackmail, they decide to pursue a whistleblower reward, which ultimately helps fund Hannah's legitimate wellness startup.
Yeah.
It was a brilliant move that secured a favorable outcome for both Elise and Hannah.
I see your point.
Yeah.
It was a calculated risk that ultimately paid off.
Right.
This decision really underscores Elise's character. She's not driven by revenge, but by a desire for justice and fairness.
Right.
Even for the woman who unwittingly played a part in her husband's betrayal.
So now picture this, a courtroom in San Diego.
Okay.
The air thick with the smell of salt and regret.
Ooh, I like it.
Derek looking worse for where his influencer facade crumbling.
Wow.
Hannah testifying remotely from Bali, where she's finally building her dream.
Good for her.
And Elise watching it all unfold, knowing she's turned a devastating betrayal into something empowering, not just for herself, but for Hannah, too.
It's a powerful scene, a testament to Elise's resilience, and her ability to turn adversity into an opportunity for growth.
Absolutely. But it's not just about winning.
Right.
It's about using her newfound agency to create positive change. What are your thoughts on that? It's a crucial distinction. Elise isn't just reacting to the situation.
Right.
She's actively shaping it. This speaks to a level of personal growth and self-awareness that's truly inspiring. Yeah. Wouldn't you say?
Well,
she's not letting the experience define her. She's defining the experience.
I completely agree. And that's exactly what she does. Elise's business thrives.
Nice.
She becomes a mentor for other women entrepreneurs.
Wow.
And she even keeps Derek's prized vinyl collection, a symbolic act of reclaiming her space in her life.
It's an interesting detail.
Yeah.
Keeping the vinyl collection. I see it as a tangible representation of taking control of her narrative. It's not about the records themselves.
Right.
It's about reclaiming something that once held significance for her and redefining its meaning on her own terms.
Exactly. It's almost like she's taking back a piece of her life that Derek tried to erase.
Yeah.
But the story doesn't end there. Just when you think Elise has moved on, she receives an unexpected text.
From a number she doesn't recognize.
This is a brilliant twist,
Right.
leaving us to ponder the true meaning behind Derek's message.
The text simply says, "Saw the news. Proud of you, AD." Elise's response. She blocks him instantly.
Wow.
No hesitation.
Good for her.
No second thoughts.
This decisive action speaks volumes about her emotional growth.
Yeah.
She's not interested in rehashing the past or giving Derek any more space in her life.
Nope.
She's firmly focused on her future.
And what a future it is.
Okay.
Elise is working on a secret project, designing bioluminescent gowns made from algae and reclaimed wedding dresses.
Wow.
Talk about turning something old and discarded into something beautiful and sustainable.
This project is particularly fascinating.
Oh, wow.
It's not just about sustainable fashion. It's a metaphor for Elise's entire journey. The algae represent renewal.
Yeah.
The wedding dresses symbolize transforming heartbreak into something luminous and breathtaking.
I love that.
It's a powerful statement about sustainability on multiple levels.
I love that interpretation. It really ties into the themes of resilience and reinvention that we've been talking about.
Absolutely.
Right.
It speaks to Elise's ability to find beauty and purpose, even in the most unlikely of places.
So as we move into the next part of our deep dive, I want to ask you, what are your thoughts on Derek's text message? Do you think it was sincere or just another attempt to manipulate Elise?
Ooh, that's a good question.
And what do you think motivated Elise to pursue such an innovative and sustainable project?
Those are excellent questions, and I'm eager to unpack those with you further.
Okay.
But first, I'd love to hear what stands out to you about Elise's story so far.
Yeah.
What resonates with you the most?
For me, it's Elise's ability to stay grounded throughout this whole ordeal. Even when faced with betrayal and uncertainty, she never loses sight of who she is or what she wants to achieve.
That's a great observation. I think her focus on her business, on creating something sustainable and meaningful, acts as like an anchor for her. It gives her a sense of purpose and direction when everything else seems to be falling apart.
It's like she channels her energy into something constructive, not something that empowers her.
Exactly.
Rather than letting the situation define her.
Yeah.
And let's not forget the role of Rachel, her lawyer.
Oh, yeah.
She's a force to be reckoned with, isn't she?
Rachel is definitely a key player in this story.
Yeah.
She's not just a legal advisor.
Right.
She's a strategist, a confidant, almost like a warrior fighting alongside Elise.
I love that.
Her sharp wit and determination are instrumental in helping Elise navigate these legal complexities.
Yeah.
And ultimately secure a favorable outcome.
She's like a legal superhero swooping in to save the day.
I like it.
But let's go back to Derek's text message for a moment.
Okay.
You mentioned it's like a Rorschach test, and I think that's a perfect analogy. Proud of you. What did you make of it?
It's such a loaded phrase, isn't it?
Oh, yeah.
On the surface, it could be interpreted as a simple acknowledgement of Lisa's success.
Right.
But given the context, the history of manipulation and deceit, it's hard to take it at face value.
Totally.
It raises the question.
Yeah.
Is it possible for someone like Derek to genuinely change?
Right.
Or is this just another attempt to insert himself back into Elise's life, even if just peripherally?
It makes you wonder if he truly understands the impact of his actions, the pain he caused.
Yeah.
Or is it more about salvaging his own ego?
Right.
Seeing Elise succeed and wanting to claim some credit for it. What do you think?
I think there's a possibility that he's experiencing some level of remorse, a belated realization of the consequences of his actions. But I also think there's an element of self-preservation at play.
Yeah.
Seeing Elise thrive despite everything he put her through could be a blow to his ego.
Yeah.
Reaching out might be his way of trying to regain some control to reinsert himself into her narrative.
It's almost like he's looking for validation, even after everything he's done. But the beauty of Elise's response is that she doesn't give him that satisfaction.
I love that.
By blocking him, she's essentially saying, I don't need your approval. My success is my own.
Exactly. She's reclaiming her agency, refusing to let him dictate her emotions or her future.
Yeah.
It's a powerful statement about moving on and defining your own worth.
I think that's what resonated with me the most.
Yeah.
Elise's unwavering self-belief. She never lets Derek's actions diminish her worth. Instead, she uses the experience to fuel her growth both personally and professionally.
I agree. And that's what makes her story so inspiring. It's not about seeking revenge or dwelling in bitterness. It's about channeling that energy into something positive, something that empowers her and ultimately allows her to thrive.
Speaking of thriving, let's talk about her secret project.
Okay.
These bioluminescent gowns made from algae and reclaimed wedding dresses. It's such a unique and innovative concept. What do you think drew her to this particular project?
I think there are multiple layers to unpack here. On a practical level, it's a brilliant fusion of sustainability and artistry, using algae, a renewable resource, and repurposing discarded wedding gowns.
Right.
It speaks to her commitment to ethical and eco-conscious design.
It's a beautiful way to transform something that often represents heartbreak and loss,
Yeah.
a wedding dress, into something luminous and new.
Precisely.
Yeah.
It's symbolic of her own journey,
Yeah.
taking the remnants of a painful experience and transforming them into something beautiful and meaningful.
Yeah.
But I also think there's a deeper layer at play. Bioluminescence, the ability of living organisms to emit light,
Yeah.
is a fascinating phenomenon. It's about finding light in darkness, which I think resonates with Elise's overall story.
It's like she's literally weaving light out of darkness.
Right.
It's a powerful metaphor for her resilience, her ability to find beauty and hope even in the aftermath of betrayal.
Exactly. And the fact that she's chosen wedding dresses as her primary material adds another layer of symbolism.
Okay.
It's about reclaiming something that was once associated with pain and disappointment and transforming it into something empowering and radiant. It's almost like she's taking back control of the narrative, rewriting the story on her own terms.
I love that interpretation. It really speaks to the transformative power of creativity and the resilience of the human spirit.
Absolutely. And I think it challenges us to look for the hidden opportunities for growth and renewal, even in the most unlikely of places.
So as we wrap up this part of the deep dive, I want to circle back to something you mentioned earlier.
Yeah.
The idea of Dax being a carefully constructed facade.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think there's a chance that Derek, underneath it all, is still the man Elise fell in love with? Or has he fundamentally changed?
That's a really interesting question.
Mm-hmm.
And honestly, it's one that only Derek can answer. But I think it's important to remember that people are complex and capable of change, both for better and for worse.
I agree. And while Elise's story is primarily about her journey of healing and empowerment, I think there's also a subtle message about the complexities of human relationships, the capacity for both growth and deception.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And it invites us to consider the question.
Yeah.
How do we navigate relationships in an age where identity is increasingly fluid and performative?
That's a thought-provoking question, and it's one that I'm sure we'll continue to grapple with as we explore the ever-evolving landscape of human connection.
Indeed.
Yeah.
But for now, let's shift our focus back to Elise.
Okay.
What are your thoughts on her decision to keep Derek's vinyl collection? Was it a way of holding on to the past or a symbolic act of reclaiming her space?
Yeah, I think it was a brilliant move on her part. It wasn't about clinging to the past or trying to erase it.
Right.
It was about taking something that once held meaning within their relationship and redefining it on her own terms.
Yeah.
You know, she's reclaiming her space, her life, even her taste in music.
Right.
And making it her own.
It's a powerful act of transformation.
Yeah.
She's not discarding the past. She's integrating it into her present, but in a way that empowers her.
Right.
That vinyl collection, once a symbol of their shared life, becomes a reminder of her own resilience, her ability to move forward and create something new and beautiful from the remnants of what was broken.
And I think that's a key theme throughout Elise's story, this idea of transformation and rebirth. We see it in her business, in her personal life, and even in her choice of materials for her new project. You know, she's taking something old, discarded, even something that might be associated with pain, like wedding dresses, and turning it into something luminous and breathtaking.
It's a beautiful metaphor for her own journey. The algae representing renewal and growth, combined with the reclaimed wedding gowns, symbolize the transformation of heartbreak into something radiant and empowering.
Yeah.
It's like she's saying, I'm taking the pieces of my past and weaving them into something stronger, more beautiful, and more authentically me.
And it's not just about aesthetics. She's making a statement about sustainability, about finding beauty and value in what others might discard. It's about challenging conventional notions of beauty and creating something truly unique and innovative.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And it speaks to a deeper message about resilience.
Yeah.
Elise isn't just surviving her divorce.
Right.
She's thriving. She's using her experience as a catalyst for growth, for creativity, for finding her voice and making a positive impact on the world.
It's a powerful reminder that even in the darkest moments, there's always a seed of opportunity waiting to bloom.
I love that.
It's about finding the strength to not only endure, but to transform, to create something meaningful and beautiful from the ashes of what was lost.
And it challenges us to look at our own lives, our own experiences, and ask ourselves, what can we reclaim? What can we transform? What light can we bring into the darkness?
That's a beautiful way to put it. So as we wrap up our deep dive into Elise's story, I want to leave our listeners with this thought.
Yeah.
What's one area of your life where you could embrace transformation? What's one thing you could reclaim and redefine on your own terms?
Remember, resilience isn't just about bouncing back. It's about evolving, growing, and creating something new and beautiful from the challenges we face.
Elise's story is proof that even in the face of betrayal and heartbreak, we have the power to choose hope, to choose resilience, and to choose ourselves. Until next time, keep diving deep.
Yes.
And remember, the greatest transformations often begin in the darkest of places.